Greetings, Lore Seekers, and welcome to the first of my post-Let's Play game reviews. Today we're talking about Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. I really enjoyed this game. I brought back a lot of nostalgia from when I first played it back in the early 2000s. Reminded me of how unforgiving a lot of games were in the past at the slightest mistake. It was something when games really did make you stay on the edge of your toes. Not that modern games don't do that, it's just they don't do it to the same degree with such punishing difficulty. But anyway, let me just quickly change the camera angle here. Yes. What do you think of my new friends? Just happened to continue my dimension hopping shenanigans and got myself fitted out for one of these while I was in the Star Trek universe. A little tight across the chest, but hey, all of them were, you know. No creases. Though I do have to say, I did try and pop into the same area as the Voyager timeline, and hey presto, I got involved in the Dominion War for a little bit. That was fun. Or not, as the case may be, as it was one of the most bloodiest wars in the Federation's history. Anyway, back on topic. So, good points about the game would be team-based combat was quite good. Having two people to cover your back most of the time was interesting. Reward and victory, so for every ground gained you could quite easily be pushed back, or every turn of your corner you could die. This is a bit disheartening for some, but it is a real driving point. Like for example, Dark Souls is the only game I've ever rage quit on, but I was back on it 5 minutes after I rage quit. So it's not to the same degree, but it's sort of that mechanic. You get heavily punished for making a mistake. Like there could be an environmental effect, or you could use the wrong weapon when fighting against creatures and end up blowing yourself up. But you'd learn from that, you'd move on, you'd still enjoy the experience. It wouldn't break your immersion. Another good thing as well is you actually, during your off hours, or even if you just wanted to, have a walk around the Starship Voyager and generally interact with the crew. You could even trigger Red Alert or the self-destruct system if you were on the bridge, much to the shock of all the crewmates on the bridge. As they would if you did that in any given situation. One thing that I also really enjoyed was the vast array of varying different types of weapon and different energies used for those weapons. It was a bit interesting seeing that they were limited to only energy and dilithium, but not a bad thing, to be fair. It might have been better if each individual weapon didn't share the individual ammo, so that if you run out of energy in one gun, you'd at least have a full clip left in all the others, so you could still switch between them if you needed to. But it was a limitation of the engine at the time, and it was something that was used across all the games that use the same engine. That brings me on to the engine itself. It's the ID Tech 3 engine that was originally developed for Quake 3 back in 1999. And it's still weathered. It's weathered well. Maybe if we could give it a bit of polish, maybe a few upgrades, it would work really, really well for even just developing newer games of a similar type. In fact, I think the engine was vastly used until about 2004. I believe Medal of Honor Allied Assault was the last game to use it, published by 2015 Games LLC. Yeah, haven't really heard much from those guys in a while. Anyway, getting off topic again there. Bad points about this game. Some of the time nature of events without any real warning other than a crew member shouting did catch me off guard a couple of times. The only real instance you see in the Let's Play is during, I think, episode 2, when the crewman shouts for me to restore a console. I don't get there quickly enough and we all fry to death. There's also a couple as well with the EPS conduits. There was a couple more when I did some explorations of the ship, but that was mostly because when I did some upgrades to my computer I accidentally erased the footage somehow. Another thing that could probably use a significant upgrade as well is the AI system, especially if you were to bring in newer mechanics where you need to keep AIs alive. So your NPCs had a habit of jumping down elevator shafts after the lift had already left. If they'd put in a more modern function of that you've got to keep these AIs alive and they actually have a health bar, that could potentially fail the mission for you. It'd be like Queen Amidala in Star Wars The Phantom Menace video game. If you see my Let's Play of that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But with a bit of polish, a bit of spit and shine, you could potentially repackage this game and re-release it in a similar effort to say how Halo Anniversary was released, where you could switch between the two varying graphic functions. And I think maybe that would be a nice bit of nostalgia for anyone who wants to play that game. Well, to be fair, you could just go and pick it up from the store. Which leads me on to another point. There was a bit of a falling out between Activision and Viacom at the time, before they split into their two parent companies of Viacom and CBS. And so the license to all the Star Trek games made during that period is a bit dubious, which means there is no virtualised copies of those games. I do really wish that would get sorted so we could then actually have those games on a digital platform for eventually when we fade discs out. I'll say I'm actually quite lucky in the sense that I own most of the discs for these games from when I was younger. But yeah, if there was general consideration to create a newer version of the game, I'd very much be in favour of a Halo Anniversary style remake. Maybe with a couple more weapons thrown in, such as maybe the TR-116 rifle, which, for those of you who know your Trek lore, is a projectile weapon developed during the Dominion War, and it was designed to be used in situations that couldn't be used in areas where there was weapon energy dampening effects in play. Maybe if you were to give it the same sort of replication technology as the grenade launcher seems to have, that would actually work to release the potential problem with having to reload. You could just use energy-based systems to replicate the bullets before they're fired. Whether or not that would make the weapon far more complicated than it needs to be is a different question entirely. Depends on as well how the energy dampening fields would work. But yes, final points. Overall experience of the game was good, story was good, even if it did have some of the cliches of the era. NPC AI did leave a lot to be desired, but it is a game from the early 2000s to the 90s. AI around that time was not the greatest. I mean, the pack mentality of enemy AI was perfect for the situation. Hone in on one target and attempt to reduce their hit points to 0, though they did seem to have a hive mind function. There was no real, I don't know, he's there, but that probably would be due to the limitations of the engine or even the technology at the time. But overall, good game, rather enjoyed. Would recommend everyone who's listening to this plays it, or if they can't, try and pick up a copy or watch the Let's Play if you can't pick up a copy. I think you can also find the cutscenes in a couple of chunks on the internet somewhere. I've deliberately tried to stay away from that as much as possible due to any potential lore problems in the future. Anyway guys, this has just been a small review of Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. I'm thinking of doing these for games I've done previous as well, so expect to see one for Palpatine at some point, and possibly Dark Forces 1. Though, get a discussion going in the comments, let me know what you thought, and also maybe discuss, any of you who've played the game, what your favourite bits about the game were, and maybe exactly what bits were a bit irritating for you. We're down in the comments. Anyway guys, I will catch you on the next video. Have a good day, and take care, and above all, thanks for watching.